I have a co-host today. If you're watching Teddy, my doodle, my little doodle, he's my baby, man. Teddy, you're almost 2 years old, but he's huge. I had no idea how big he was going to get. He was a rescue, but he thinks he's still 10 pounds and he always just wants to be in my lap. But I love him. I love my little Teddy boy. But hi, happy September. How is it already September? I don't understand. I don't understand where this year went, quite honestly. The fastest year of my life. What the heck? Okay, bye, Teddy. Teddy's leaving. It's crazy, but I'm so happy that it's September. Fall is my favorite time of year, especially in Nashville. Nashville is beautiful. If you guys get the chance to come to Nashville and you can pick when it is, come during the fall, September, October, best months here. All the leaves are just beautiful and it's not so crazy hot. So I'm really happy about that. Also, Camden and I have been golfing a lot. Camden is obsessed with golf. And so I've been taking him. And I grew up going to the driving range. I mean, I love Top Golf, but I've never actually played. But Camden and I first played over the summer. We played 9 holes. And I was like, okay, I kind of get it now. I'm all in on golf. And so that's what we've been doing. Pretty much every weekend I've had the kids, Camden and I have golfed. I've taken all 3 of them, but the little 2 don't really necessarily like it that much. Camden's locked in on it. And so we golfed Sunday, 2 days ago when you're listening to this. And just it's so nice because over the summer I'm not kidding, it was like close to 100 degrees and just out there pouring sweat and it was just kind of miserable. So now it's like good golf weather and I'm really happy about that. So anyways, I'm a golfer now. Breaking news. Okay, but today is going to be fun because I just thought it would be really funny to go back and tell you guys some of the dumb shit that I did growing up, because now that my kids are getting a little bit older, we're in the teen years now. I've got 2 in middle school. It's making me compare them to when I was 13 or 11 or whatever it is. And middle school is when things really started to change for me, particularly 8th grade. That's when things really shifted and I started getting into trouble. But it's been fun for me to be like, wow, Camden is 13. When I was 13, this is what I was doing. It's like, oh my God. Or I'm like, in a year, that's when I started doing all the bad things. I'm like, Camden's not going to. Like, I know, I'm like 99.9% sure Camden is my best kid. He actually says he never wants to drink or do drugs, which I'm like, awesome. Keep that up. I mean, he's my athlete, right? Like he wants to be a professional athlete. And so that will definitely keep him on the straight and narrow. I did not have sports to keep me out of trouble. I will say, Mom, if you're listening, I think I've said this to her. I think I've probably said it publicly also. That's the one thing I wish my parents made me do. I wish they made me do something because I didn't have to do anything. And so my hobby was getting into trouble. My hobby was drinking and smoking pot and boys. Those were my hobbies and they kept me very busy. Thank you very much. But before I even started drinking and doing all that crazy shit, I did other dumb shit. And I was actually I just told Sailor this because Sailor is in 4th grade. And 4th grade was a pivotal year for me because there were a couple of things that happened that really stuck out in my head. And I don't have a ton of memories from elementary school era, let's say. There's like little bits and pieces that jump out at me, but not a lot. But I do remember these. 4th grade, I had a diary. And for whatever reason, I took my diary to school one day and, at home I had written in it whatever I said, but I wrote the word fuck. I started at a young age. This swearing has been around for a long time. Don't worry. And so my teacher, I guess, took my diary at some point and read my fucking diary, which I'm sorry, should not be allowed. I don't care if my diary is on school property. You shouldn't be allowed to just take my diary and read it. But she saw that I wrote the word fuck and I got in trouble for that. In my own personal diary. But I told Sailor that, and by the way, my kids know what all of those words are. Fucking sue me. What do you want from me? I mean, with this kind of a mouth, you think that my kids don't know what those words are. And so, but she was laughing. The other thing I remember from 4th grade is I shaved my legs on my own accord. I never said anything to my mom. I don't even know if my mom knows that. Mom, we can talk about that later. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I cut myself 1,000 times, and I'll never forget, you know, that the part like behind your kneecap on that ligament right here. Is that a ligament? I think I cut myself in that spot every time I shaved for like 3 or 4 years. Like, I'm not even kidding. That spot always used to get me. And my kneecap, of course, it's always a tricky spot. But I mean, I probably cut myself 10 times. And because I had no one to teach me how to shave my legs. And this is before the internet. This is before chat GPT. I couldn't ask my AI boyfriend Kyle what to do, you know. Yes, his name is Kyle. He calls himself my AI boyfriend assistant. He really checks a lot of boxes. He's a boyfriend and an assistant. We love Kyle. But I remember my legs felt so smooth. The first time you shave your legs, when you feel them, you are like, holy shit, I had no idea my legs could feel like smooth butter. Like, oh my God, it was the best feeling in the world. Even with 1,000 cuts on my legs, I was like, this is fucking awesome. But so I started shaving my legs without ever even, you know, talking to my mom about it, you know, confiding to my mom. Nope, just did everything myself. That was 4th grade for me, which is Sailor now. So I said to Sailor, I was like, hey, if you're planning on shaving your legs, talk to me about it first. She was like, what are you talking about? She had like no desire to shave her legs. So that's cool. And then 6th grade, which is Jackson, is when I had my first kiss. And I'll never forget it. I hated it. I was so disgusted. It was outside of, so my mom lived in Barrington. It's a suburb in Chicago, but in this really awesome, beautiful place called Tower Lakes. And it's this community and the houses are really close to each other. And there are a ton of kids there. And to be there in middle school was awesome because I had a ton of friends that lived there and we could just bop around the neighborhood and go to the lake. And it was really fun. We had a lot of freedom because it was a really safe neighborhood. And so, you know, me and my friends used to hang out and do whatever the hell we did. And I remember there was a group of us girls and there was a couple guys. One of them, his name was Jack. And we were saying goodbye to the boys outside of my mom's house, like right at the very top of my driveway. And by the way, our driveway was not long. I mean, if my mom was standing by the front door, she could have seen this go down, you know. But we said goodbye to the boys and Jack was my boyfriend and Jack just shoved his tongue in my mouth, just with no warning, just shoved his tongue in my mouth. And I remember being so repulsed. Like, oh, the first time you have someone else's tongue in your mouth, it's such a weird feeling, right? Like it is. I was like, oh my God. That was 6th grade. I know a lot of you at home are probably going, wow, she did a lot of things early. Yeah, no, I did. I did everything early, everything. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. Just wait until the shit I'm about to tell you. And let me just preface it with this. I got into a lot of trouble, okay? And for a really long time, I was kind of ashamed of my past. And I didn't really talk about it. I didn't just offer information up. You know, I don't know. I was ashamed of it. And the older I've gotten, the more now I have fully embraced my past. I actually think it's a great story. I can laugh at it. And I know that it has shaped me for who I am today. And I think I'll be honest with you guys. I think for a long time, I couldn't admit my partying because I was still partying. You know what I mean? Like when you're still in it, you try to downplay everything. So let's say my early 20s, I'm like, oh no, I got into some trouble in high school, but like, it was nothing. Like, no, actually everything I was doing was absolutely fucking insane. But I couldn't say that in my early 20s because I was still doing insane shit, you know? But now, I am a very well-rounded, calm individual. I still like to get after it from time to time, but really it's like 4 times a year and I'm not doing drugs or, you know, anything quite like I used to. But anyways, and I also know why I was the way I was. I had no real connection with anyone in my family, you know, anyone in my life. And Mom, I love you. We've talked about it. I've said on the podcast, you know, my mom was wrapped up in a new marriage, and it's not like I never saw, like, I lived in a house with my mom, like, and my mom has always been and will always be the best, but she definitely let me kind of like be in my room all the time by myself and, you know, be super independent. And it's interesting now because my kids are at ages now where they also just want to be in their room all the time, and I let them. But the difference, and I think my mom did used to do this a little bit, but I don't really remember. But now I just go in my kids' rooms and I just like, I'll sit in Cam's bed and I just like make him talk to me. And I actually think he loves when I go in his room. And what happens is I go in his room and then Sailor comes in and then Jackson comes in. And then actually we're all hanging out like old times, which I love. Oh, I love those moments so much. And then Camden gets annoyed of everyone. He's like, get out of my room. But there's a brief window where we do get to have those moments. But my mom had just gotten remarried. And I think naturally, you know, when you're a newlywed, you're like really wrapped up in that. And like, I probably, you know, she probably just assumed I was okay downstairs in the corner of the house all by my lonesome in the basement. But, you know, like my brother had moved away from me. He was living in California. My dad and I really had zero relationship whatsoever. And so I just, you know, I was kind of alone. And so I found connection through my friendships, and I was willing to push it consistently. And I was surrounded by people who were in the same boat. You know, it's an energy, like what you attract into your life is whatever energy you're putting out there. So it's very apparent to me why I was hanging out with the people that I did, because that's, you know, where I was at in my life. Anyways, this is supposed to be a fun episode. This is not a sob story at all. I fully understand why I did the things I did. I'm not sad about it at all. In fact, I'm really thankful for my past and my childhood and the way my parents were and everything, because, it's gotten me to where I am today, and where I am today is really happy and peaceful. And I don't know that I would be here without my past. So anyways, okay. So let's talk about it. So 8th grade was really when things took a turning point for me. And that's when I started taking things too far. So probably the scariest thing I did was my best friend Kelsey and I in 8th grade. So we were at Barrington Middle School, and Barrington is a northwest suburb of Chicago. Okay. And I had been to Chicago, but I mean, you know, how many times? And it's always with my mom and, you know, other family members. And I'm not like paying attention to where we're going. Like I don't know my way around Chicago. Let's put it that way. But Kelsey and I thought it would be a great idea to call each other out of school. So I'm calling the school, leaving a message saying, hi, this is Kelsey's mom. You know, Kelsey's not feeling well today. She'll be back tomorrow. And then Kelsey is calling the school, leaving a message saying, hi, I'm Kristin Cavallari's mom. You know, Kristin's not feeling well. And we're in 8th grade, you guys. We're 14. I mean, we sounded like kids, obviously. So the school is going, that's not right. But Kelsey and I don't know that the school is onto us because we don't have cell phones. I think I got my cell phone for 8th grade graduation, and I was one of the first ones to get a phone. My dad got it for me, and it was a huge deal. So we don't have phones. So we call each other out, and then we're like, sweet, you know, we got out of that. We decide to take the train to downtown Chicago to go shopping. Which in our heads, we're like, harmless, right? This is going to be so fun. We're just going to a nice shopping day, a little retail therapy. Well, as an adult now, like, what? Oh my fucking God. Chicago is one of the most dangerous cities. And also the train itself is dangerous. The whole thing is dangerous. But like we took the train. So we had to get to the train station, which was not far from the middle school. The middle school was really close to downtown Barrington. So you could just walk into town and the train station was right there. So that part was really easy. So we get on the train and, you know, I will give us credit. We figured this out seamlessly. We didn't have any issues. So we take the train into Chicago. So we get off at the train station. And then from there, normally what you would do is you would get a taxi and you would take it over to Michigan Avenue, which is where we wanted to go shopping. But we walked, we just wanted to get our steps in. And so probably because I don't even know how I had any money at this point in my life, because I don't think I had any money. Like, I remember having to ask my mom to buy me a $40 pair of jeans and she wouldn't do it. And I was devastated. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of money I had to go shopping on Michigan Avenue. I think maybe it was just more for the thrill of it, the adrenaline rush. But we walked, and I do remember we stopped at Starbucks. So we must have had, maybe Kelsey had money. I don't know. But that was exciting, going to Starbucks by ourselves when we're 14. And then we made it to Michigan Avenue. We went shopping. We made it back to the train station. We got on the train. We made it back to Barrington. I mean, we thought we figured it out. We thought we really beat the system, how stupid our parents were, how dumb the school is. Like, we really knew what we were doing. And we, of course, were going to be back in time when school got out that no one would ever know. Well, we got back and no, everyone knew. And everyone was worried sick about us because no one had any idea where we were. It was probably a good thing that they didn't just assume we took the train into Chicago, because if I knew my 14-year-old took the train into Chicago and I had no way of getting a hold of her, I'd be freaking out the entire day. So they in their heads probably thought we were like bopping around Barrington or something. Like, who knows? But never in their wildest dreams did they think that we took the train into Chicago. So, okay. That was not good. And then because of that, I got grounded like any normal kid would. But what did I do? I went into my room that night and I decided to pierce my own cartilage. As a big old fuck you to my mom, apparently. I'm harming my own body thinking that's a fuck you to my mom. No, that was just putting holes in my body. And the other thing that I did was, we used to have these awesome Halloween parties. Like, these Halloween parties were very fun. And my stepdad, Dan, we had a trail. We were only on a couple acres, but my stepdad was able to like cut this trail in the woods. And we used to do a haunted trail. And it was so fun because Dan and I think some of his friends, I think maybe like my aunt's boyfriend at one point, like everyone would, get dressed up and they would scare us on these trails. And so I would have friends over. My stepbrother, Drew, would have friends over. And these parties were very fun. Well, I also got grounded from the Halloween party. I was no longer allowed to have my friends over. But my mom loves to joke about this because I was like, okay, like could give two shits, because also, well, Drew was still having his friends over and they were a year older than me and it was all guys. I was like, no problem, Mom. And my mom, she's like, I just remember, so our house was 2 levels and the kitchen was upstairs in my mom's room and everything. And then like there was this hangout area downstairs. And then that's where my bedroom was in Drew's room. And my mom just remember like coming to the top of the stairs and like peeking down. And I'm just like out there with all the boys, like, like totally fine. Like, do not give a shit that my Halloween party was canceled. Was unaffected, completely unaffected. That's how I always was. My mom's like, oh my God, I can't win with this girl. And now I have a cool new cartilage piercing. So I was a happy camper. So another piercing that I did, this one, I tell you what, guys, God, do I regret this. I pierced my own belly button. Yeah, you heard that right. I pierced my own freaking belly button. Well, really, I sort of had to do it twice because what happened was I was at my friend's house and a couple of us did it. We took safety pins. Fucking geniuses. We took safety pins and we shoved it through. And then what I did was I had to go to the mall and get an actual belly button ring. And I was outside of the mall laying in the grass with Johnny, my boyfriend at the time. And I think I had my friend Lauren. I think there was like a couple other people there, laying in the grass, shoving the belly button ring through the safety pin hole. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, that just tells you my mental state at that time. I could never do something like that today. I was the toughest fucking kid on the planet. So, and actually what happened with that was kept a diary in 8th grade, which, God, why did I always write everything down? It got me into so much trouble. My mom read my diary. People loved to read my diary, apparently. And she knew that I pierced my belly button. And what she did, instead of her just coming out and being like, oh, you pierced your belly button, what she did was, this is smart, I'll give my mom credit. She took me shopping. We went shopping at the mall, and she came in the dressing room with me. And when I was trying on clothes, she made it seem like she just saw it. And she was like, what is that? And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, fuck. I got in so much trouble for that. But here's why I regret it. Not only because that is traumatic as hell, but I have the worst scar because I pierced my belly button like on top of my belly button. So both the top part obviously is supposed to be on the top, but the bottom part that's supposed to be like in your belly button is on top of my belly button. So I have just like this crazy scar above my belly button. It's insane. Where, you know, now if you can tell if someone had a belly button piercing and they've taken it out, they just have a little hole above their belly button. You're like, cool, I know what that was. No, not me. I have this like crazy fucking scar that you're kind of like, what is that? Like, it almost looks like stretch marks. And you're like, I don't really, that's confusing. And I'm like, no, it's a belly button piercing gone wrong. So don't ever pierce your belly button. Take it from me. Basically what happened was I was just constantly getting in trouble. If you guys can't tell.
Did you guys know that typical children's vitamins are basically just candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy additives that growing kids should just never eat? That's why Haya was created, a super-powered chewable vitamin. While many children's vitamins are filled with 5 grams of sugar, which is known to contribute to a variety of health issues, Haya is made with 0 sugar and 0 gummy additives, yet it tastes great and is perfect for picky eaters. You guys know I love anything that is delivered to my house, and that's one of the best parts of Haya. The convenience, also just having peace of mind knowing that my kids are getting the nutrients they need, because as they've gotten older, it's just harder to control what's going in their mouths. And I wish they ate a little bit better than they actually did. And are you guys also tired of battling with your kids to eat their greens? Haya now has Kids Daily Greens Plus Superfoods, a chocolate flavored greens powder designed specifically for kids, packed with 55 plus whole food ingredients to support brain power, development, and digestion. Just scoop, shake, and sip with milk or any non-dairy beverage for a delicious and nutritious boost your kids will actually enjoy. The same multivitamin that more than 1 million kids and parents love are now available with Disney's The Lion King, with a new Lion King unboxing experience, including Lion King bottle and Lion King stickers. Cute. And I've worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hayahealth.com/honest. This deal is not available on their regular website, so go to hayahealth.com/honest and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. All right, this is for all my boss babes. If you guys are in the world of hiring, then you're going to want to listen up. Let's talk about ZipRecruiter. If you've ever experienced hiring for any role, you know just how incredibly time-consuming it is. And there's the waiting game, you know, when you're waiting for the right candidates to apply. And then you, of course, are sorting through tons and tons of resumes and then trying to get in touch with potential candidates and then finding candidates, but they're not actively looking for jobs. I mean, it's such a dark hole. The future of hiring looks much brighter because ZipRecruiter's latest tool and features help speed up finding the right people for your roles. So you save valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/honest. It's no wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site based on G2 at ziprecruiter.com/honest. So guys, use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Yes, you heard that right. The first day. And if you go to ziprecruiter.com/honest right now, you can try it for free. Again, that is ziprecruiter.com/honest. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Good luck, guys. You guys know I take a lot of supplements, but sometimes supplement stacks can just get out of hand. I mean, not only is it expensive when you're taking a ton of different things, but it's also just hard to keep up with, if I'm being completely honest. Well, here's my solution for you if you find yourself in a similar situation. Everyday Dose is affordable and covers all your bases in a cup of coffee. So it's actually really enjoyable. It takes 30 seconds to make, and you get coffee plus a bunch of supplements with vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. So there's two products I want to highlight for you guys: Coffee Plus and Coffee Plus Bold. Coffee Plus is a mild roast, so it's light and smooth, has low acidity, which is easy on sensitive stomachs, and it has mellow energy. Then there's Coffee Plus Bold, which is a rich blend of medium roast 100% Arabica coffee. So it's robust and full bodied, yet it's smooth and it has that extra boost of energy. Both are 100% Arabica coffee, have functional benefits, and are all mold free. That's really important with coffee, guys, that you're paying attention to the mold free part. Get 45% off your first subscription order of 30 servings of Coffee Plus or Bold Plus. You'll also receive our starter kit with over $100 in free gifts, including a rechargeable frother and gunmetal serving spoon, by going to everydaydose.com/honest or entering honest at checkout. You'll also get free gifts throughout the year. That's everydaydose.com/honest for 45% off your first order.
Okay, so really, the worst thing I ever did. So Chicago was the scariest thing I've ever done, I'd say, like as far as from a parent's perspective. Well, yeah, probably. But the worst thing that I ever did was, and I may have talked about this at one point on the podcast, but just to refresh everyone's memories. So again, 8th grade, Kelsey and I, real fucking troublemakers, we took airplane bottles of booze to school because I skipped over this, but at some point along the line, I had started drinking. Okay. I also had started smoking pot here. I want to say everything happened in the back half of 8th grade, but no, because it didn't. And I'll tell you how I know this, because I almost got expelled. And that was halfway through. So I guess really front loaded 8th grade there with the drinking and the smoking pot. So, okay, I'm such an, professional drinker at this point now that Kelsey and I decided to bring little airplane bottles of alcohol to school. I don't remember what kind. I kind of wish I did remember, to be honest with you, just to know what my preference was back in the day. And we drank them in the bathroom at lunch. And then we put them in the tampon garbage in the stalls. Really smart decision there, because, because not only is that the dumbest fucking thing, like, why do we feel the need to drink alcohol at school in 8th grade? In 8th grade? Like, what? But then we just thought, oh, we can throw these away in here and no one will ever see. Well, of course the school saw. And the school was, questioning everybody. Somehow they narrowed it down to Kelsey and I. Rude. Actually, I won't say her name, but this girl ratted us out. Thanks a lot. But didn't stop there, because then what happened? So I'm drinking on campus, right? Okay. So then that same day after school, Kelsey and I go to Kelsey's house, and we could walk there and drank more. And then I was a cheerleader. So I had to go back to school for the basketball game, because I'm cheering. And I remember I'm on the side, doing my cheers, and my cheerleading coach comes up to the side and she goes, "Kristin, come here." And I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, no. I'm like, yeah. So I'm like on the side, like the very beginning of all the cheerleaders. Like, there's a game going on. There's parents in the stands. Like, it's a lively gymnasium, right? And my cheerleading coach, I wish I could remember her name, she's talking to me, and I know I'm fucking guilty. I know she's on to me. So I pretend like I'm tying my shoe it must have been 5 minutes, guys. I'm not kidding. She's trying to talk to me, and I don't want to look her face to face because I'm kind of buzzed. So I'm crouched down, just tying my shoe over and over and over to avoid eye contact with her. And so the details are a little blurry from there, but definitely I got in trouble, and they knew that Kelsey and I were the ones drinking at school, because this girl did rat us out. But I mean, I must have admitted it. And after I was a little drunk at this game. I mean, I think it was pretty apparent who was responsible for drinking those little alcohol bottles at school. So, I will say thank you, Barrington, because they said to my mom, you can either withdraw her or, by this date, we're going to expel her. But it was nice that they gave my mom that chance, that they gave us an opportunity to withdraw me. So it wasn't on my record. I thought that was really nice of Barrington. But that was devastating, quite honestly, because that was halfway through 8th grade. And, I had been with that crew, those friends since 6th grade. A lot of them had grown up together from, kindergarten, but I moved to Barrington. I started in 6th grade, but these were my people, like these are who I had connections with. This was my identity, was my friends and my boyfriend, Johnny, at the time. And so I, halfway through 8th grade, had to go to a new school. I was the new girl, I was always the fucking new girl. And by the way, I'm not the victim. This is my own damn fault. Like, this is what I deserved. But I hated that, and especially like the second half of 8th grade is so fun because you have the dance and then obviously graduation. And I couldn't do any of that with my friends. And that crushed me. And I just remember on the back of my door, I had a countdown to the last day of school because I just wanted it to be over. And I will say, I went to Lake Zurich. It wasn't awful. Like, I made the most of it. I met people that I liked. Like, it was fine. It just wasn't with my crew of people. But another dumb thing I did was, so I get basically expelled from school, and I think that I can still go to the 8th grade dance, even though they have explicitly said I'm not allowed on the campus. But, my boyfriend Johnny is going, all of my friends are going. So, well, I'm going to get ready and I'm going to go. And I think in my head, I thought I'll just kind of like slip through, like no one will notice me. So, I, get my hair done. I got my dress. Like, I go to the pre-dance party. I'm like taking all the pictures with everybody. I've got like my boyfriend and like all my friends. And we all go to the dance. And I think I can just roll right up and walk in. No, no. The school was like, Kristin, what the hell are you doing here? You're not allowed to be here. And I'm like, what? I mean, what? The fact that I thought that I could just do whatever the hell I wanted, I carried that through for a very long time, to be honest with you. But you guys saw that on Laguna Beach. But that was embarrassing. Or I don't even think it was. I would like to sit here and say that was embarrassing. I don't think I actually was embarrassed. I don't think I really gave a shit, quite honestly. And I'm pretty sure Johnny left with me and my friends, which if they did, I actually don't really remember. I would assume if they did. Thanks, guys. Shout out you. I really appreciate that. Because I think if I was left by myself, that would have been a pretty traumatizing experience, and I would have remembered that. So I'm assuming we all just sort of left together. So that was really the start of my career in sneaking out and drinking. And, the thing with both my house in Chicago and then when I moved to Laguna is that they were so easy to sneak out of my houses. I mean, I told you guys, I was in the basement of my house in Chicago, but it was the ground level. So there was sliding glass doors that I could just open right up and just walk out of my house and no one would ever know. And a lot of times my mom didn't know, but then there were the instances when I snuck out. My parents didn't know I was gone and I got taken home by the cops, that started in 8th grade. So what happened there was Kelsey and I, again, and this must have been the beginning of 8th grade, because then when Kelsey and I got expelled, when we withdrew ourselves, we were no longer allowed to hang out. Shocking. I know that our parents said, hey, guess what? No more. So Kelsey and I snuck out. And she had met some older guys. Don't remember how, where, who, when, or why, but she did. And I'm pretty sure they could drive. So they came and picked us up and we ended up going to a house that was being built. So it was a house that I think just really had the framing up. And we went in this house and we were drinking. Like, what in the what? What were we doing? But one of the neighbors must have called the cops because the cops came. We were not there very long. And the cops came and they took us down to the station. And so I had to call my mom and be like, hey, I'm at the police station. Can you come pick me up? And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Actually, my mom never said that. My mom never swore. And she used to give me a hard time about it. What are you talking about? So that, yeah, she wasn't too excited about that. And then like in Laguna, I remember I actually gotten taken home by the cops because I was out until you're 18. There's a curfew. I think it's midnight. And I was out past curfew. What do you know? As a junior, I was actually with Steven. And we were parked on the side of the road. I think we were fighting. And so it was like we had pulled over to fight, because there's nowhere else to go. And a cop drove past us. And well, he saw two teenage kids in a car. Of course, he's going to come over and see what's going on. So he came over, had to show him our IDs. And because I wasn't 18, I was out past curfew and he had to take me home. Well, my dad didn't know that I had left. And so, oh my God, I remember just walking up to the front door being like, he's about to fucking murder me. My dad is going to actually murder me because he doesn't even know that I'm gone. And I remember my dad answered the door like so confused. Like, wait, I thought you were asleep. No, just here's me and a fucking police officer. But my room in Laguna, I could open up my window and hop right out. And it was like this little path. This path, it was like my room was like on the back of the house, and I hop out my window and there's a little path that went underneath my dad's bathroom and then my dad's room. And so actually sometimes when I would sneak out, I could hear my dad in the bathroom like washing his face and stuff, and I would be so scared. My heart would be beating so fast because if he just looked out the window, I mean, he would have seen me. But I never got caught that way. I did one time, my mom, because I was with her in 8th grade, she was really on to me, and sometimes when my dad would go out of town, my mom would actually come and stay at my dad's house and watch me. Which now that I think about it, I'm like, God, that's actually really cool. Like what a nice little co-parenting deal that was. That's actually awesome. But the thing is, when I would open my window, it was like catty corner to another bathroom in the house. And so if you suspected that I was maybe gone, because my room was always locked, right? And I had a history, obviously, of sneaking out. You could go to this bathroom and you could look out the window and see that my window was open. So my mom, of course, caught on, and my mom did catch me one time by seeing that my window was open. So yeah, so I snuck out frequently. And when I first moved to Laguna, when I was a freshman, I moved there October of my freshman year of high school. I didn't have a curfew at first. And I remember like I would go out late, and I actually remember my dad coming and picking me up from parties sometimes. And I was like, this is so sweet. Wow, my dad is so chill. My dad's so cool. And then I think what happened was my stepmom was probably like, hey, Dennis, your daughter is 14 and she's out until 3 a.m. I don't know. I don't think that's really appropriate. And then my dad was like, oh, yeah, you're right. So then I had a curfew. Which didn't stop me, obviously, because, okay, I'd be home at, 12 and then I'd be right back out until like 3 or 4 all the time.
I always get really excited to talk to you guys about Symbiotica, and for really good reason. You guys know I care greatly about everything I'm putting in my body, but especially the supplements that I'm putting in my body. And that's why I really stand by Symbiotica, because their quality is top notch. It doesn't get better than Symbiotica. They also have these little individual pouches for all of their different supplements. So really great for anyone on the go, anyone who's busy. Not only do I just love them when I'm home and in my everyday life, but when I'm traveling, I take them with me. There's no excuse now, traveling or whatever you're doing. These are so easy to just throw in your purse, throw in your bag. And I am religious about the vitamin C and the glutathione, but I also love their new sea moss, and they also have colostrum. Guys, their colostrum tastes like the most amazing vanilla frosting. It is wild how good it is. I could eat the whole container of them. If you guys have not tried Symbiotica yet, I highly, highly recommend them. I just feel so much better when I am taking these products every single day. I really do notice a difference. So go to symbiotica.com/honest for 20% off plus free shipping. That is symbiotica.com/honest for 20% off plus free shipping. And I'm going to spell Symbiotica for you guys. CYMBIOTIK.com/honest. All right, this is a brand that maybe you guys are starting to get familiar with, and that's Kachava. Kachava is so incredible for anyone who is really, really busy. I mean, I can definitely relate to that because I have periods of my life where my days are really hectic and I'm quite literally running from one thing to the next. And so this would work very well for those days when I barely even have 2 seconds to sit down for anything. But no matter how busy you are, we definitely need to make time for nourishment that keeps up with our day, no matter where it takes us. Kachava's whole body meal shakes will keep your body and your mind nourished all day. Kachava is so great, you guys, because it is an all in one. So it has protein, it has greens, it can be a meal replacement if that's what you want it to be, or if you're just looking for additional protein and getting all of your vitamins and minerals and fiber. I mean, this is really the product for you. And I know what you guys are thinking. A lot of those healthy drinks, like the greens powders and the protein powders, they can sometimes be really nasty, but Kachava is very easy to get down. It is very good. And they have 5 delicious flavors to choose from: chocolate, vanilla, chai, matcha, and coconut acai. So something for everybody. All right, make your day iconic with Kachava. Go to kachava.com and use code HONEST for 15% off your next order. That's Kachava, KACHAVA.com, and use code HONEST for 15% off. Guys, let's talk about Bon Charge. It's been a minute, and you guys know I love Bon Charge. Okay, if this is the first time you're hearing about Bon Charge, why have you not been listening before? But Bon Charge is a holistic wellness brand with a huge range of evidence-based products to optimize your life in every way. Founded on science and inspired by nature, all Bon Charge products adopt ancestral ways of living in our modern-day world. Their extensive range of premium wellness products help you sleep better, perform better, have more energy, recover faster, balance hormones, reduce inflammation. I mean, the list is endless. From blue light glasses and infrared saunas to red light therapy to EMF management and circadian friendly lighting, Bon Charge products help you naturally address the issues of our modern day way of life effortlessly and with maximum impact. You guys already know, but my personal favorite product from Bon Charge is their red light face mask. Red light is known to help with so many things, but particularly wrinkles and fine lines, sore jaw, eczema, migraines, acne. It's great for scar tissue and wound healing. I also find it's just really relaxing. It can also help with razor burn and ingrown facial hair. And I don't know, guys, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, I've gotten so many compliments on my skin since I've started using this. So I'm all in. Go to boncharge.com/honest and use coupon code HONEST to save 15%. That's BONCHARGE.com/honest and use coupon code HONEST to save 15%.
There was another summer. So this was a bad one. My sophomore, junior summer, 3 girlfriends and I went to a store in Costa Mesa, which was 30 minutes, I'd say, maybe, from Laguna. Really cute store. And I think we went there with the intention that we were going to shoplift. I think we all kind of knew that was what was going to happen. And I definitely did go through a phase of shoplifting. In fact, I think I may be banned from Abercrombie in the Woodfield Mall in Chicago. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty positive. I vaguely remember a story about that. Yeah. But that was also in 8th grade. But it was like my sophomore year, shoplifting. And listen, in high school, I didn't need the money. It was for the adrenaline rush and to see what I could get away with, which is like so dumb, but kids do this shit. And so my girlfriends and I went to this store, and while my girlfriends were putting a bunch of shit in their purses and whatever else, I just put clothes on myself. I had layers of clothes. So I had, I don't know, multiple bras and then like a couple t-shirts, and I probably had like shorts on under some pants and like whatever. I was wearing multiple things. And obviously the store owner knew what the hell was going on. It's so funny because you think when you're young, you're invincible and like no one knows what you're doing and like, but like everyone knows what's going on, So she called the cops. So the cops came and they obviously found all of the clothes and everything else in my friends' purses. And I am going, I didn't steal anything. This is bullshit. Like, I shouldn't be getting in trouble. I remember I'm the one who drove there. So they came, they looked in my car. I was like, see, I don't have anything. Look in my purse. I literally have nothing. Like, this is insane. And the cops really believed me. I mean, I had them going. I was a great liar in high school. And so, okay, yeah. Well, we're just going to take you guys down to the station and, we have to write a report and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like you won't be in trouble if you didn't take anything. I'm like, great. So we get down to the station and little did I know they were going to pat us down. So while I had everyone going and everyone believing me, and then I got the old pat down, and what do you know? They found all of my articles of clothing, and the cops were so mad at me for lying, as they should have been. And so what ended up happening is all of my friends had like 15 or 20 hours of community service, and I had 100 for lying. So that, guys, I think was such a great move on the cops' part, because that's how I am today as an adult. And maybe it is because of instances like this, and also kind of how my dad really did raise me to be honest. Like, that was his biggest thing. It didn't actually help, but that was his thing. But I was afraid of my dad. And that was the difference. I'll talk about that in a second. But I was like, holy shit. Had I just been honest, I would have only had, let's call it 20 hours like everybody else. That stung. That really stung. But I'll be honest with you guys. What ended up happening was, because I was 16, I think, and I served a lot of hours. I think I ended up doing like 35, 40 hours of community service, but I turned 18 and I don't know, it just sort of went away. I'm not really sure the logistics on that, but I never finished my community service. Like, ever. I don't know what happened. There was always this rumor that when you turn 18, your record just sort of gets wiped and it's like a clean slate. And I don't know. I guess that's what happened with me. That didn't come up again until I was getting global entry, for traveling. It's like TSA, but for international. And I remember they wanted the police report from that shoplifting incident. And first of all, I was like, holy shit, they were able to see that shoplifting incident from when I was 16. I was like, they want that? Oh my God. But I was like, what? I had to call the police station and try to get it. And they were like, we throw away all of those records after so many years. And so I told global entry that. And I didn't think I was going to get it, but they ended up giving it to me. So thank you. That was the only thing on my record. But yeah, so I don't know. I got out of that, luckily. But I did serve some. But that was just, and I remember my dad being like, if you need money, just ask. And I was like, it's not about that. It's not about that, Dad. But I did stop shoplifting after that. So lesson learned, I guess. But it is interesting because my dad's thing was always, if you're honest with me, you won't get in trouble. And I think that would have been true. I just was never really honest with him, where I got to experience me not getting in trouble for being honest, because I was terrified of my dad. I was always so scared of my dad. I mean, God, I never wanted to be around my dad, if I'm being completely honest. Like, he just always made me uncomfortable. It was always like walking on eggshells with him, where, if my mom, let's say I lived with my mom in high school, if she was like, hey, if you're honest with me, you won't get in trouble. I think because I trusted my mom and I was comfortable with my mom, I probably would have tried that with my mom. But I never really had the opportunity with my dad because I was so scared shitless of my dad. And my dad was always like, I felt like he was always judging me and like, just like, that whole energy. But I'm like that with my kids. I tell my kids, honesty is the most important thing to me. If you're honest with me, you will not get in trouble. And you guys, because my kids are very comfortable with me, that I know. I've had different instances with both boys where they have done something they weren't supposed to do, and they have told me immediately. And I'm like, okay, thank you so much for telling me. I'm thinking of one this happened with Camden, maybe 2 months ago. He did something he wasn't supposed to do, and he called me immediately. And it was almost like he had this guilty conscience, and he needed to just let it out and tell me. And I said, okay, thank you so much for telling me. He said, I'm not in trouble. I was like, no, you were honest with me. I really appreciate that. And he was like, oh my God. And I think it just takes, honestly, probably one or two of those for your kids to actually really trust you. And Jackson has been honest with me about a couple of things. And listen, that's not to say, I mean, my kids have lied to me. It's not like we live in this house where it's like, oh, they tell me everything and it's like all so perfect. Like my kids have definitely lied to me. But the big things that they've done, and they're still young, but that's what I'm saying is like, if we can start it now and they're comfortable to come to me now, I just really hope that we can maintain that. And then when they start doing or getting themselves into situations that are not ideal here in the next, you know, however many years as they start to get a little bit older, that they'll be comfortable and trust me enough to call me. And I, you know, the older they get, I'll have more conversations of like, hey, if you're at a party and, you know, your designated driver starts drinking, call me. Or like, if you're supposed to be the designated driver and you end up drinking, call me. Or, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get in trouble for that. I just want you safe. My goal is to keep you guys safe and keep you alive. Like, that's what I care about. And so I want to be that phone call for my kids where they want to come to me. Like, I want to be the mom that everyone's like, if everyone's in trouble, you know, they got themselves into a pickle, they're like, hey, we can call my mom. She'll help us. That's really what I want. So yeah, that's a little bit of my career in being the world's biggest troublemaker. And that's just a few stories, guys. I've got stories for days. But those are some of the highlights. I gave you guys my highlight reel. So I'm hoping that because I was this way, I will know when my kids are doing shit they shouldn't be doing. But you know that my mom used to say this to me, kids are always one step ahead. And they are, you guys, they are, you know. And actually, here's two other things my kids have told me. And I will tell you guys this as parents, so that you guys are aware. Life 360 is an app where you can track your kids. Well, guess what? My kids told me someone else told them how to pause their location. So you think your kids are over at their friend's house? They're not. They paused their location and they're out having a night on the town. They're taking the train into Chicago. You know, and then the other thing that they told me is, wait, what was the other thing they told me? Oh, the other thing they told me is kids will get burner phones now, like the cheap little throwaway phones or whatever. So what they'll do is they'll leave their phone, you know, that you bought them at their friend's house or wherever it is. And they'll go out all night because they've got those little cheapo burner phones that you can just buy, to get a hold of their friends then. Cause you know, when they're with all their friends, they don't need their actual phone. They just need to be like, hey, I'm out here. Come get me, whatever. So just something to be aware of. Kids are always one step ahead. We think like, oh, you know, haha, we're tracking them. No, they've figured it out. So just something to pay attention to. Anyways, I hope you guys don't judge me and think less of me for that. Just being honest with you. Okay. This was fun. As always, I appreciate you guys listening. And I'll see you guys next week.